Okay, welcome back. Now this is a short video talking about how to use Blackboard in conjunction with this course. Now even though you may be an expert at Blackboard for other courses, you probably still have to pay attention because there's a couple of things in here which may be a little weird. Alright, so here we go. I assume you've logged into Blackboard and selected the course and you're now staring at a screen similar to this. Cool. So the first one is, welcome and a to-do list before so things you probably should do before the course starts, like get a copy of the textbook, read the course syllabus, which I will show you in just a minute, watch or go through the slide presentation, which was just the previous video. So if you watch the previous video, you don't need to do this twice. Watch the videos in the week 0 section. We'll talk about that. And since you're watching this video now, obviously you're doing that. Introduce yourself. So yes, I want you to go into the discussion forum and introduce yourself. We'll discuss that in just a minute. And definitely need to install Microsoft Microsoft Excel on your computer. Okay. Course information is pretty straightforward stuff. It's a little bit about me, a little bit about the book, a copy of the course syllabus. If you want, you can download the honest-to-God real version of the course syllabus. Woohoo! The PowerPoint presentation, and this is the PowerPoint presentation that we just had in the previous video, so I'm not going to click on that. I'm going to say, I guess I'm not going to say cancel. I'll just ignore it. Okay. Learning outcomes right out of the syllabus, so that's not very exciting. The course calendar. So I already have in here all of the due dates. So if there's any doubt, every single due date is marked in this little calendar. So you can just kind of flip through this stuff and find all the due dates, and that's when everything is due. Cool. Student dashboard. This is pretty straightforward, I think. Tells you everything you need to know about your course. Under the section called course content is the real guts, the meat of this thing. There's a thing called weekly tasks. So every single week you need to go to this section, find out what week we're in. Whatever week we're in week 5 as an example. Click on that, and at the top of the list is going to be a to-do list, a task list specifically for that week. So every single week I'm going to give you a list of things to do. And it's going to be something like read the chapter 5, do assignment 4, answer the following questions in your journal. And we're going to demo that in just a minute. So every single week I'm going to ask you to read something, do something, watch some videos, and answer 4 questions in your journal. Okay, I'm going to show you the journal here in just a minute. So, again, weekly task is the guts of it all. Go to the week. It'll tell you everything you need to know. I try to make this as simple as possible. Go to the week that you're currently in and look at just follow the task list and you're good to go. Okay. Lecture notes. I don't have any lecture notes in here now, but these are notes that I use to prepare the lecture, just to make sure I don't miss topics, right? And so they're very small and cryptic. I mean, they're done in Notepad. I don't even run them through spell check or anything. They're just notes for me to make sure I got everything all lined up. Some people find this useful. So after the presentation, not before, but after the presentation, I do release those notes. And a lot of people like them because they like to be able to look at those to study for the exams. Okay, it makes sense because if I think it's important enough to me to put in my lecture notes, then more than likely those are going to be the sources for the questions in the exams, right? Okay, cool. Supplemental material right now, there's only one file in there, and that's the student data files from the author's website. Okay, cool. There's a communication section. So instructor announcements, I don't have any instructor announcements right this second, but that's okay. Messages. Now, Blackboard calls this messages. Okay, I call it email. So whenever I say Blackboard email, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, this messaging feature. I will tell you, this is the only email that I'm going to use. If you have a university email address or some email address at gmail.com, I'm not using those. I'm using this and only this to get a hold of you. Okay, nod your head. So if you say, oh, I don't want to read that, well, too bad. Okay, so this is the technique. Okay, discussion forums. There's 3 discussion forums in there. One is at the beginning, I'm going to ask you, one of the tasks at the very beginning is go here and introduce yourself. You know, just a short blurb that says, "Hi, I'm Joe Blow. You know, I'm a senior and hope to see you guys, blah, 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 blah." Okay, just kind of a social kind of thing. If you have a picture thing, that'd be kind of cool because I don't ever get to see you guys. Course feedback. This is a section where you can, you know, complain and bitch and moan. I have anonymous access turned on. So if you wanted to say, "Well, that was a stupid question on question number 4. You know, I bet nobody got that one right." That kind of stuff. You know, you can just do feedback. Grading notes is one where I go in at the end of a grading period, like I've graded a homework assignment or a quiz, and then I put in notes in here. Okay, cool. And I want you to be able to read those things. All right. The next thing is the journal. So at every single week, I'm going to ask you 4 questions. You're going to go to your journal. You're going to click on it. You're going to say create a journal entry, and you're going to answer the 4 questions. You know, question number 1, the answer is 12. And question number 2, the answer is Cincinnati. And question number 3, the answer is Kumquat. You know, just go down the list, just answer them. I don't really much care about formatting. That's not really relevant. And typically they're not long answers. You know, they're not going to be, you know, paragraphs. It's probably going to be like a single sentence. Okay, so just short, sweet, snappy kind of thing. Remember, your participation in doing this is part of your grade. Okay, assignments and grades. So I list all the assignments up front. Here's where they are. Now I will tell you that they won't show up on the list until about 2 weeks before they're due. So for example, if you scroll through this, you're probably only going to see, you know, like 1 assignment, or actually, depending on it, before school starts, you see nothing. But after school starts, then you'll end up with a 2-week period where you can see the assignment. You can, of course, turn things in before the lecture that they're based on, but you'd be kind of crazy to do so. Next one is going to be just the quizzes and exams, and so it's the same thing. Here's a listing of all the quizzes, and once again, some of these things are going to be available when the class starts, and they're typically available only the week that they're due. In other words, so that Monday I'll release the quiz that's due the following Sunday. So you don't get 2-week period to look at it. You only get a 1-week period to look at it for quizzes. Assignments, you end up getting assignment 2 weeks before it's due rather than 1 week before it's due. Okay, cool. Alrighty. So grade book, that's, you know, you can go to your grade book and see what's going on. So I'm gonna pretend like I'm going to submit an assignment. Okay, so we're gonna do that now. So hang on just a second. Okay, so first thing I need to have is an Excel spreadsheet. So I have one here. I just something. So step 1 is I'm going to have to rename this thing to meet the file naming conventions. Anybody remember how that works? Rename. So it's CISK301 space assignment 1 as an example, and then last name dot first name. Okay, it's 2 spaces, 1 between the title and the assignment and the name. Okay, now I'm ready. So I'm going to go to my assignment, and it's going to say, okay, are you ready to do something? Yes, I am. So I'm going to attach a file, because that's what we're doing. We're submitting a file. So I'm going to go here to my documents. I'm going to grab that file that I just created. And if they're kind of it may take a second, because sometimes these guys could, and you could put a little note here saying, you know, here is my assignment 1, you know, be gentle, something. All right, and then you hit submit, and it takes it a second. You know, just give it a second, and then doink. Okay, now it is going to generate sort of a preview. Now this preview is not really all that useful, because what happens when I grade the papers, I'm going to go in and actually make some changes to your document. So we'll demonstrate that now. Okay, so assuming that I've already graded your paper, how do you get that stuff back? Well, it's two ways you can do it. One is you can go down to your grade book. That would be one way of doing it. Or you can just click on the assignment by itself. So click on the assignment, and it's going to show, instead of an assignment drop box, it's going to show the stuff. So here's what you submitted to me. You know, here's my assignment 1, and then here's my notes back, and it says, okay, that's pretty good, but look at the comments in the attached document. So inside here, I'm going to put an attachment. So you're going to have to download this document, open it up, and then hunt for these little red check marks that talk about the comments. So for example, I put a comment here that said, this should have been consistent decimal points. All right, so it is a little convoluted. You submit your stuff, and then you have to wait for me to grade it, and then you have to go click on it and download something and read the comments, okay? Cool. So after you've read the comments, perhaps you want to go look at the review of everyone else's stuff. So in the discussion forum and in the grading notes, I said in the grading notes, come on, here we go. And then there's an assignment 1. And now this, again, this assignment 1 thing is for everyone. You know, it's a generic thing saying, okay, everyone did really well, and the most common problem was, and remember this, and don't forget that. So all this feedback. Now I will tell you, I have been known to put in Easter eggs in these grading notes. Something that says, the first 5 people who respond to this note via Blackboard email will get an extra 5 points added to their next quiz. Ooh, you think maybe I'm serious when I tell you that I really, really, really want you to read this feedback? Okay. I'll tell you what, the crazy part about feedback is I'll say, for example, okay, this needs a lot of work. Here's the things you need to think about, and I recommend you resubmit, okay? And they'll come back and say, well, I didn't know I could resubmit my assignments. It's like, dude, you just need to read, okay? All right, so that essentially concludes the whirlwind tour of how to make Blackboard work for this course. I'll see you guys again in some future video.